Picture this, you just finished your finals. After a long day you think, I haven't played Skyblock in a while, so you'll hop on Minecraft and join into Hypixel. Wow, the lobby looks so different. Then you join Skyblock to see that you made 2.1 billion coins, or in other words, enough to buy a fully scrolled Hyperion. Keep in mind, the last time you logged in was, let me check, 2 months ago. How? Well, that's what happened to me, and today I'll be walking you through exactly what I did to make this happen. Enjoy. Okay, so this all started a couple months ago after I uploaded my last video. Since uni had just started back up, and I knew midterms were gonna come soon, I needed to find some way to make money in Skyblock without actually playing. Of course, the first thing that comes to mind when talking about passive income is minions. But for me, minions were just not gonna cut it, for a couple of reasons. First of all, many of the best minions in the game require you to collect them quite often for max profits. Yes, I know that you can use an enchanted hopper, but that sacrifices so many coins, it would be better to just use a more AFK setup. And since I already have a full tier 11 melon minion setup back from when I was grinding max skills, I decided to just leave those up since they would take at least a year to fill up. But that wasn't really going to make me that much, so I decided to do what I have been putting off for years now, investing. Ever since I got max skills, I haven't been the most active in Skyblock, and one thing I always wanted to do was invest. I mean, even in real life, as soon as I turned 18, I took all my YouTube money and dumped it into the S&P 500, and that worked pretty well for me in real life, so why not in Skyblock too? The only issue is, my bank was kinda empty, so I had to do the dreaded task of liquidating my entire profile. So I got to work. I checked every chest on my island, made my co-op members get on just to give me the items they borrowed, used all my bits, and sold everything I didn't need. After all this work, I was left with 10.7 billion coins, and all that was left to do was invest. Technically, you can invest into any item in the game, but it's widely known that cosmetics like pet and armor skins are the safest to invest into, so I decided to go with that. Luckily for me, because of my last video, I talked to the #1 skin investor / trillionaire _foe and got some great tips. So now let me share them with you. The first tip, never buy any skins on release day, unless you have gems of course. This is because skins are very good for investing, so when a skin drops, everybody wants to get in early, which causes people to sometimes pay inflated prices in case the skin sells out quickly. In most cases, this results in the skin starting off with a high price on release, and then slowly dropping for a couple hours or days. On the other hand, if you are buying skins using gems that you bought from the Hypixel store with a 5% discount by using code MASH, then you would actually be profiting from buying on release because you could sell them for those inflated prices. In the end, the main thing you should do is just wait at least a day after a skin is released to buy it from the AH. Now, pay attention because this next tip is where we decide what we want to invest in. The most important factor when it comes to investing is quantity and release date. Due to the laws of basic supply and demand, skins with lower quantities tend to be priced much higher than ones with larger ones. While demand does play a factor, the influence of FOMO, or the fear of missing out, can lead even undesirable skins to have high values just due to exclusivity. For example, let's take these 2 Pokemon cards I have. At first, they look exactly the same, but what if I told you one of these is worth $5 and the other one is worth 7 times more? Why? Well, the reason is just because of this small stamp that says Pokemon Center, which signifies that it comes from the lower quantity box that you can only buy from the official Pokemon company. This is just one example of how exclusivity can increase prices drastically. But tying it back into that aspect of FOMO, the release date is just as big, if not an even bigger influence than quantity. Since unapplied skins are worth much more than applied skins, and as a whole, skins tend to get applied as time goes on, the supply of unapplied skins shrinks the longer it has been since release. This leads to even high quantity skins gaining good value over time as the supply inevitably decreases. This is why skins are well regarded as the best investments you can make, because the supply is always shrinking. If you're still somehow unsure about buying skins with gems, let's take a look at the most recent skin that's been released. At the time of recording, this is the Fossil T-Rex skin, which is an epic skin with a quantity of 7,500. This is a very mid skin since 7,500 is a pretty big quantity and it doesn't have any special animations. But let's say you bought it for 650 gems. That would net you 35 million coins. On the other hand, if you instead use those 650 gems to buy 2 booster cookies, you would have made about 27 million coins. So even though this skin was released this week, it still outperformed booster cookies by 30%. And remember, this is with a high quantity skin. If you were lucky enough to instead buy a lower quantity skin like the Candy Slime skin that released a few months ago with only a quantity of 3,500, for the same price of 650 gems, you would be able to sell that skin for 113 million coins as of right now, which compared to booster cookies is 300% better. So if you ever see that a low quantity skin is going to be released and you have the IRL money to buy gems, do it. And don't forget to use a creator code for 5% discount. If this video helped you in any way, I'd really appreciate if you used code MASH in the Hypixel store, but just make sure to use at least somebody's. I'll also be making community posts and Discord announcements for every skin that's released and my opinions on whether you should invest in it. So be sure to subscribe or join my Discord if you want to see that. Now, going back to the skins, after all that I just talked about, the rest is really not as important, but you should still keep them in mind. According to _foe or whatever notes I took, assuming equal quantity and similar release date, the list for what is best goes mythic animated skins as the most expensive, mythic day or night skins as the second best, color swap or mode switching skins as the third best, plain mythic skins and nothing else as the fourth best, and everything else is under that. After considering all of that, investing is just deciding on which skins you think are undervalued in the current market, whether it's because people either don't realize how cool the skin looks, they don't realize how cool the effect is, they don't realize how little supply there is, or a combination of these factors. Using just this and a spreadsheet of all the skins in the game, I was able to find skins that I thought were undervalued and buy them up, resulting in a gain of 2.1 billion coins. So let me stop stalling and show you my investments. Okay, so now I'm on Minecraft and I'll show you my investments, but just note that I'm not going to be showing all of my investments because if I did that, those items would just automatically get pumped from people trying to copy my investments. But if you do want to see it, you can go and check my profile yourself. Anyways, the ones I will be showing are these 10 Frozen Blaze skins that I decided to buy, and this red elephant skin that I bought. So right now you should be seeing just a bunch of videos of me actually buying the skins, and the way I did this was through using Discords to buy skins. More specifically, I used Skyblock Z and the Collectors Hub Discord because these are where a lot of these skins and stuff like that are sold. And the reason that you do this is because then you get to evade the taxes from the AH, and because of that you're able to get it at a lower price because these people don't have to eat up the tax price anymore, so they're willing to pay it to you or sell it to you for a lower price. So that's the reason that I would usually recommend buying from a person directly through a trade versus buying off the AH. But of course you can still buy off the AH, especially if you see a good deal. Anyways, there's not that much more I can show you in game, so let's go look at the spreadsheet. Okay, so now I'm on the spreadsheet and you can see all the stuff that I bought for investment. So here you can see the total, which is around 10 billion coins. I didn't finish all the 10.7 bill, but I should get on that. Either way, I made about 2 billion in profit already, and that is calculated as a 20% or 21% gain from what I initially invested, which is pretty good for only a couple months. So right here you can see everything that I invested in. I have blacked out the names of all the items that I don't want to show you, but if you know a little bit or enough stuff, you can probably deduce what skins that I invested in. But looking at Frozen Blaze skin and looking at the red elephant skin, these are probably some of my highest gainers. Well, specifically the red elephant is the highest gainer right here at about 50%, which is crazy, especially on a skin with 2.4 bill. But the Frozen Blaze skin was still also pretty good because it was a 25% increase and I bought 10 of them. So that's actually a 1.25 bill investment. So that was actually a big gainer as well. Another thing to note is that this skin that I bought, that I'm not showing the name of, I actually bought at an inflated price, which is a real issue that you could come across when buying skins. And this is one of the reasons why you should always invest in a bunch of different skins, because if you get a bad investment or buy something inflated like I did right here, you can still offset that loss because it's a pretty big loss. This is a loss about 400 mil. You can really easily offset it with a bunch of other good investments. So even though not every skin that I invested into is doing really well at the moment, I can still get profit just because a majority of them are doing well. Okay, now going to explain why I picked each skin. The red elephant skin, I'll start because it's a little bit simpler. Basically, in this other sheet, I have all the skins in the game and sorted by release date. What you can notice is that there's actually a little blue highlight on a certain section of skins. These are because these are considered OG skins and usually go up in value very consistently, even if, I don't know, the supply is high or you think the skin is ugly or any of those things. These skins always go up pretty decently. So if you can pack any of these, like pick any of these skins, it's definitely a good investment. So that's why I picked the red elephant skin. As you can see, it is considered an OG skin and it has a low supply. So I just picked one up because I thought it would be a good investment, and I guess I was right because it went up. The only issue with these skins is that because they're so old, they're so expensive. Over here you can see that almost nearly every skin here is in the billions, or that they weren't even sold so recently that they could even have a price listed. So that's why most people don't invest in these, because they just don't have the cash to. But I would definitely recommend it if you can afford it. Then finally, for the Frozen Blaze skin, this is actually not an OG skin, but let me go and show you using a screenshot why I actually decided to invest in this. Okay, so now you should be able to see the screenshot that I took of the spreadsheet right before I invested into Frozen Blaze. The reason I did this is so I could explain to you my reasoning. So the first thing I did was actually order this by date and amount. So here at the date, you can see that it goes from most recent to least recent. And since over here at amount, I actually controlled it all for 10,000, this means that this date should be the main factor influencing the price. And you can actually see that because at the top here, it's the lowest, while the oldest skin, which has the less supply, is the highest at 370 mil, which makes sense. There's outliers, of course, but the general trend is that the ones at the top are the lowest and the ones at the bottom are the highest. So I decided to see if I could find any outliers, and that's when I got to the Frozen Blaze skin. Here you can see that it's surrounded by 3 mythic skins. So right over here there's a mythic skin, right over here, and right over here, and that all these skins are animated. So this is animated, this is animated, and this is animated. All of them are animated. So what you would presume is that the prices of all these skins, since they're so close in release date, would be around the same. But the issue is, in Frozen Blaze skins, you can see that it was pretty undervalued. It was only at 115 mil, while everything else was at 400 mil. So it makes a lot of sense that either other skins all drop down to this 100 mil figure, which I doubted, or that all these skins stayed the same and that the Frozen Blaze skin was gonna shoot up. So that's why I decided to invest in it. And now, looking at the actual spreadsheet at current date, we can see that the same thing that I said was going to happen actually happened, and it actually did increase in price. Even though it's just slightly at this point, I still think it's just going to keep going in price slowly, because right now everything is still around 400-300 mil, while it's still at around 163. So hopefully in the next couple of months or year, it will get to around 250-300 mil. But that was just one of my investments, and as you saw earlier, there are points when sometimes you lose money and you have to just accept that. So just make sure you like the skin that you're investing in and you think that it's gonna go up, and you should be fine. And also do your own research. Don't just copy what other people are doing, because sometimes they're just trying to make you pump it up so that they can sell it to you for a quick profit. So be sure to do your own research. Don't just buy what everybody else is saying to buy. Now that I've taught you how to invest, go do it yourself. And don't forget to use code MASH in the Hypixel store for a 5% discount if you're thinking of buying gems and buying the skins like that. Oh, and remember to subscribe or join my Discord for notifications of new skins and whether you should invest in them. Anyways, later.